Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Trigg, Anthony Birchak. We're actually sitting at Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. I didn't realize that actually Anthony and I have a little wrestling history that kind of crossed paths a little bit. He is finished up his wrestling career at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. Obviously, for most of you guys at home know, I wrestled at Phoenix College, and Grand Canyon University is a Division II program that started Division II wrestling. Pretty salty, but Ed Kinneck, who was one of my coaches when I was with Dave Severn, not Dan Severn, Dave Severn, his brother, actually went over to Grand Canyon, was spearheading getting that program started, so that you guys have a place to wrestle.
That's awesome.
Where are you from originally?
Tucson, Arizona, born and raised. Raised in a small town called Sarita, or Sahuarita, and just kind of grew up. For all my non-Hispanic speakers, it's Sarita. So, but grew up in a small 3A high school. You know, three-time state medalist. Ended up taking it on to college. Met guys like Efren Escudero, Jamie Varner, Jesse Forbes, Drew Fickett, James Terry. All of that was my junior college team.
Wow.
So, you know, some of those guys kind of inspired me, and that's kind of me in a nutshell right now.
Jeez. Now, why Extreme Couture? Because you're from Tucson. Where you living now?
I live in Tucson. Train at Apex Mixed Martial Arts.
So, I mean, Phoenix is closer to you. I mean, you could have jumped over to Phoenix and went over there and trained with Jamie Varner and those guys.
There's a lot of egos and stuff in Arizona, and I think it's more refreshing for me to come up here.
Okay.
You know, get people, you know, like Tim and Chris Algieri. You know, these guys have been nothing but welcoming with open arms here at Extreme. So I think this is probably the better fit for me.
Now, Tim Lane, Tim, the guy's talking about, Tim Lane is also my Muay Thai coach, the first true left-hander that I've ever worked with. And at the end of my career, I wish I had got him 10 years ago. Like, Tim's one of those guys I really wish I had. What have you picked up from Tim that you knew right away that was going to be a fit and was going to be a match for you two? Well,
actually, the last guy I fought for the Jackson's MMA show, you know, he showed me an inside leg kick to a 1-2, and that was just to set up my takedown. You know, but a little bit of Tim goes a long way. Yeah. I only got to work with him for two-hour spots at a time while my girl was up here fighting for Tough Enough. Next thing I know, a minute 22 into my fight, I feel an inside leg kick. Right lands, right on the button.
Yeah.
Out, sleeping.
Yeah, Tim had me where I have a bad left shoulder, but I have a really strong right hand. So it's hard for me. I can't get full extension of my left, so my lefts are really short. He taught me how to get inside. And like within 35 minutes, all of a sudden my left hand was landing all the time. It's incredible working with a guy with that kind of brain power, but I need to back up for a second. Your girlfriend fights too? Yeah,
her name's Mercedes White. She's the owner of our management company called Luta Elite.
Okay.
She ended up picking up a fight at 145s here in Vegas at Tough Enough at the South Point. Ended up being an amateur boxer who was 5-0, and just worked with Tim on that jab, making herself nice and long. She out-jabbed and out-stuck that girl all night.
How does that work at the house? Like, especially you guys on a management company together?
We don't have domestic violence. We have either good or bad training days. So it's kind of cool, you know what I mean? She's pregnant right now, so she's chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll let her throw some 16s on, and I'll just go defense. I'll let her throw at me, you know, I'll pick punches.
Oh, good.
So she can get her aggression out still. She just, you know, I just can't hit back.
What, it's your baby?
Yes.
You sure?
I think so.
You sure? You positive? You never know. That's how far along is she?
We'll find out the sex on May 2nd, so 8 days before I leave to my fight.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. Now
Ryan, if I'm having a girl, I'm sorry, dude, but I gotta tear you up.
Yeah. He's getting ready to fight Ryan. I'm gonna say it wrong. It's Benoit. It's French, but it's not French. So he gets upset when you say it wrong. So I completely butchered it and said it completely wrong. It's just sorry, Ryan. I apologize. Explain to the folks at home that are watching us here on MMA Oddsbreaker how you break down Ryan, how you see him as a fighter.
You know, I see him as an aggressive young fighter. You know what I mean? He's coming forward. A couple of the fights that I got to watch, he keeps his hands low. He's got. What's funny is he wrestled for Menlo College, but he doesn't consider himself a wrestler. He associates with Muay Thai.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, I got trained by you know, Tim and Nunxium Samprusi out of San Diego.
Yeah.
Nunxium the Rock. You know, and I can see how enticing that world is. You know, once you crack somebody, you're like, I'm looking for it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he always says that, oh, I have wrestling in my back pocket. You know what I mean? Well, I'm a funky wrestler. I'm not one of these Midwest kids. I got, you know, real unorthodox wrestling. And
are you funky like Ben Askren funky? Funky like
trick knees, moving in and out, you know, and Ben's funky. I wouldn't say I think he's a little bit more solid though. I'm always funky.
Ben is funky with a huge amount of regular technique and no flexibility.
Exactly. I'm super funky, super high flexibility.
Okay, so you're more like a Kendall. Well, he's too old.
Kendall Cross.
Yeah, more like Kendall Cross.
Man.
That's one of my guys. Like half the stuff I use is
all that inside trip
Cross
stuff, all that outside, all that funk. Yeah, that's me, man.
It's speaking of which, all those guys are in town this weekend. The National Wrestling Tournament is going on. I'm actually. After our interview,
at the LBSC, right?
Yeah, I'm heading over there to go watch. Are you still keeping up to date on the wrestling and paying attention at all?
I mean, every once in a while, like Henry Cejudo just made his MMA debut not too long ago. I keep up with that. They wanted Tom Ortiz, who was the former ASU head wrestling coach.
Tom Rowell.
We were talking together. He's like, I think it'd be really good for you and Henry to come train together. And I just haven't had the opportunity. You know what I mean? Between the kids and the baby and taking care of Mercedes and making sure my training camp's going well, I just haven't been able to get to Phoenix.
Okay, I gotta be honest with you, man. Tom is a really, really good coach. I think he got a raw deal over there at Arizona State, and he's one of those cats that has a real good mindset for how the wrestler can expand himself outside of wrestling. I think a lot of people don't utilize Tom as much as they should. I really like his mentality and how he approaches the overall game.
Definitely, he gave me my pro debut. WF MMA is his WFF is his promotion. He's the one that started me into my pro career. And I can't thank him enough. This has been a tremendous road, tremendous journey.
Now, explain to your style to the folks at home, because a lot of the guys don't they don't really follow Maximum Fighting Championships down here in the States. It's on Access TV. It's a tough network to get a hold of. I know you have to have a special program, a special packaging to get it, because it is MFC. Scott Zier and Mark Pavlich take care of me, so I get a DVD of it in the mail overnight to me the next day. So the fight's on Friday. I'll see it. I have it by Saturday afternoon. I'm already watching it, so I'm okay. Yeah. I love Mark. Mark's always been a big supporter of mine and really a great friend. Him and Scott Zier have been great friends. Explain to the folks at home what your style is, like how you'd explain to people how your style is when you go out there and fight.
I got labeled just as a submission wrestler right off the bat, obviously, coming up under Drew Fickett, learning how to take the back, find the neck real quick, and a lot of that funk that played into my wrestling transitioned beautifully into my jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And then since I've been with Tim, it's been obviously a great transition, and I'm becoming that overall package. But anybody that watched my fights, I'm 9-1 with 8 finishes. They can expect explosiveness, big finishes, great slick submissions. I try to pride myself on finishing fights, and if you like to see finishes, then watch me make 10.
Now, how has Pavlich and Zier and all those guys been treating you going up the next year?
They're awesome, man. Yeah. Like, anytime Mark talks, dude, he's just so amped up. He's like, I thought I could talk a lot, and I'm down to like one-word sentences when I'm talking on Mark. So I'm like, yes, sir. No.
Yeah, I mean, he makes everyone knows I talk a lot. He makes me shut up.
Yeah,
it's incredible dealing with Mark.
He says Bruce Buffer stutters when he's next to him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, honestly, I have a running joke. He doesn't actually do this, so don't start calling the cops on him. But I keep telling him he's the only guy I know that has to take cocaine to go to sleep at night. This cocaine will slow him down so he can go to bed at night. He's so amped up, and it's funny because he refuses to not allow MFC to become non-family oriented, where his whole family works for the company.
Oh yeah.
And he will not allow it to stop that from happening. He could go corporate and expand much faster. He just won't do it. He's like, no, it's a family company. This is how I was raised, to be family oriented. I'm going to keep it a family thing. And sometimes you kind of like, Mark, doesn't make any sense. You could expand so quickly. You could have more promos. You could push yourself bigger up in Canada. You could make it a bigger deal. But he won't do it. Do you feel like working with MFC that's kind of hurting you a little bit too as a fighter, because you're not getting the extra exposure that you could if he would expand a little bit faster and go more corporate?
Not necessarily. I'm going to be known on another, in another country. I've fought in Brazil, I've fought in the U.S., and I'm now going to be fighting in Canada. So, being able to fight in 2 countries in North America, that only can broaden my fan base. You know what I mean? And Canadians love 2 things: hockey and fighting.
Yeah.
And, so
3 things: hockey fights too. They like
hockey fights.
Yeah, well, they like hockey. They like hockey fights,
together.
And they like fighting. They like it all.
They pair together. But I look forward to putting on a show for the Canadian fans. I've been saying that I want to be, welcomed into Edmonton like the hometown kid, man. I want Benoit to feel real alienated, and I just want to get amped up when I'm in there. But as far as the exposure, it's on Access TV Fights, Access TV Live, and they got a good media network and a good channel to really broaden, up and coming fighters like myself.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job. The one thing Axe is really doing a really good job is exposing these younger, smaller fighters that no one has really seen or heard of with the record like less than 12 fights, less than 13 fights. And it's kind of a big deal because really when you get TV exposure, when you've only got 8 or 9 fights, when I did it, 8 or 9 fights, there's no TV anywhere. Now it's like, wow, there's a couple thousand people that are watching me every night.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This is a big deal. On Access TV, they're also picked up Fallon Fox. She's on the XFC or something down in
CFA.
CFA down in Florida. How do you feel about Fallon Fox fighting now? She can be on the same network as you, so no matter what happens, no matter what's going to go on, you're also on the network that aired Fallon Fox.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's a lot. It's a touchy subject. Without trying to say anything.
Don't worry, no one watches these interviews. It's fine. You'll be fine. Mark doesn't care. He's not gonna get rid of you. You're okay.
The thing was is if let's just say that there was a crime scene and cops were investigating it, and for whatever reason Fallon Fox's arm was there. Let's say Ronda Rousey got a hold of it.
Right. Perfect. Nice analogy. Good work.
I need a DNA test. That's gonna come back as a man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you've been taking hormones for the last 6 years. You were a grown adult for 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 31 years.
31 years. So and I understand, I'm sensitive to the LGBT community and everything, but it's just this is fighting, you know what I mean? And that's a guy fighting women.
My view has always been it doesn't concern me because it's not my weight class, and I'm not a female, so I'm not going to be fighting her. It only as long as they're following the rules and the regulations, then I'm okay with it. And the rules and regulations right now are as long as she's been on chemicals for 2 years, and you don't have to have full reassignment.
Yeah.
All you have to be is on the chemicals for 2 years. That's the IOC states. They're okay with it in the Olympics. They allow you to compete in any sport that's an Olympic sport. You're allowed to compete, which is also judo, boxing, wrestling. All the taekwondo, all the contact sports. Females can do it if they're on chemicals for 2 years, as long as they're following the protocol and they're following the rules and regulations of that. I'm okay with it. Like I don't care. I'm not going to put my basis in it, but I also Matt Mitrione, who got in trouble for saying this.
And
I agree with Matt State.
I feel like, he took it a little bit further.
Too far.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said he could have left it at the first sentence that he had. You know what I mean? And that would have been the interview. But I agree with his position, and I agree with your position. I understand as long as you're following the rules and you're going about it the right way. More power to you.
Yeah, what I think needs to happen if this is really a problem, then they just need to change the rule.
Yeah.
And have the MMA commissions go, no, if you were born a male, you are a male.
Yeah, you're a male.
But what's going to happen is they're going to alienate the lesbian, gay, bi, transgender community, and it's going to be a real big problem. But you only really alienated transgender. You're not alienating anybody else.
Yeah.
Because obviously Liz Carmouche is a lesbian and competes and does incredibly well.
And she kicks ass, man.
And Nike better sign her to a deal because it'd be great to have her as one of the first major gay. Openly gay female athletes be out there and be sponsored by Nike. I think that'd be a great deal for her to happen. And also too, if she gets picked up by Nike, that means the rest of us have a shot at being at Nike. It's not all the John Joneses and the Anderson Silvers anymore.
Exactly.
It's now everybody has a shot at being at Nike when you have a great record.
That's one thing I noticed. We stopped at the Nike store, and you see all the Manny Pacquiao gear. He's got awesome gear by Nike. But the Bones Nose shirts, the Silver Nose shirts, nowhere to be found in one of the biggest Nike outlets in the world. And I think more product needs to hit the shelves, man. And I think they need to diversify and find more fighters. They're taking obviously the top 3 in the world right now, but there's some killers out there that are top 10 and under.
Now, Anthony, this is the first time I've ever interviewed you, and you're really smart. A lot smarter than a lot of the guys trust me. I interview a lot of dumbasses. Trust me, it's tough. There's a lot of editing going on for some of these interviews. What you get your degree in? Exactly.
I didn't get my degree. Actually, I had my son my senior year. Right before wrestling season, there was an open tournament. We were going to Cal State Fullerton. Found out my girlfriend was pregnant, and I went to my coach. It was funny because I went to R.C. LaHaye, who's the coach there. He was an All-American for Western Colorado with Shane Carwin. The day that I went to tell him, hey, coach, this is what happened, he goes, hey, Stud, you want to cut it to 125? So I was like,
no.
No. Later, coach.
I'm out of here.
So, but, I was, my major was graphic design, visual communication.
Oh, okay.
So, and I still do that on the side. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I've done, walkout banners, walkout clothes, you name it, I've done it.
Okay, where can I get a hold of you if someone wants to use your work?
You guys go to facebook.com/Birchak Fight Designs. You guys can see the Vale Tudo shorts I've done, the shirts. corner banners, hit me up for bio sheets, whatever you guys need.
Perfect. All right, Anthony, thanks. I appreciate it. I know you get ready to work out, so I'll let you go.
Yes, sir.
It really was an interesting interview, and Scott said that you'd be a good interview, and Scott hardly ever lies to me, so thanks, dear, for setting this up. Appreciate it.
Thank you.